All right, folks. Good afternoon here, and welcome on back here this Tuesday afternoon, shortly after 2:30. Still this August 1st, top of the month once again to all of our students and members alike inside our live trading room. We have Rod, Ira just before, Charles, Roger, Bell, Grant, Scott, and a lot of us still with us here. Michael and Ravina included, and Lawrence, and perhaps more of us joining us right now live, but perhaps otherwise just joining us on social media: Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, the works. We have a lot to discuss, as I always say, but that's always the case here this afternoon because typically we'll recap the movers that we caught from the morning session. We'll take a look at a few stocks here this afternoon. We'll start off with what's on the screen here. So RGTI, nice little push so far. Perhaps a bit of a tease to begin, right? Ended up making a nice little pop, though, after it ended up breaking above 3. So easy to say, but the first test of resistance off of 3, it looks like it just held perfect. Yep, just kissed it right there, bounced right off. Then on just the next test, even though perhaps you could still expect some turbulence, some resistance around there, like a false breakout or so, it made a very, very efficient breakout. So even from there, it just never really pulled back down to 3, just kind of kept going and going up towards 325, 323. Definitely for right now, I'm going to put this on our main watch list to begin, right? RGTI, just stock at the highs, good order book, it's cheap. Certainly has made a nice move even beginning from like end of June time. So, when is it going to top? Well, that's the same question you could ask on like all of these other trades that we've been calling out. You could ask that on Tupper from last week. You could ask that on Carvana last month. You could ask that on AI 2 months ago. We'll get to all those trades in just a moment. But, hey, looking at the historical chart for right now, it looks like it bottomed out roughly around 360-ish, 380-ish, perhaps back, beginning of last year. So don't hold your breath waiting for that 360 to 380, but it's definitely in good shape looking at the daily chart, looking at the intraday chart here, the 1 minute chart here. So for right now, I'll put this on our watch list. Actually, I'll keep it on the weekly because what we'll do is go through a few other trades here, stocks that ended up doing pretty nicely from the morning session. This one I just want to show briefly as we go from top to bottom. ADMP, we're not going to trade this, but I want to show it because it was a similar stock from yesterday. Ended up getting halted incessantly over and over and over, and you can't trade it. You don't want to trade a stock that's too small cap or too low float, too illiquid on the order book. Mainly here, looking at the big spread, scarce volume out there, that's extremely dangerous. So for anyone that like promotes that type of trading, everyone has their own level of risk, degree of risk, but we're not trying to kill ourselves out there to flip a profit. So, if you rolled the dice, if you went to the casino on this stock, as I like to say, good for you. But for right now, even this MSGM, there's a couple of these that look like this right now at the highs. This is also pretty illiquid. So you got to be very careful on this type of trade here too, looking at the order book, the big spread, very scarce volume out there as well. But it's trading a lot more volume across this smaller time frame. So hopefully the order book does fill in a lot better on this trade. Seemingly it's having a tough time breaking off of like the recent set of highs. It was building like 850-ish. Yeah, like basically 850 there. If anything, look for a pullback. Maybe you could find support to build once again off of like 711 or otherwise 735-ish. I'll put it on our main list for right now. I like the RGTI a lot more, though. Probably like this Yell trade still. The only gripe I have on Yell is that prior to today and prior to like the last couple of days, it was trading a few million shares here and there, which is very tradable by all of our standards here at CTU. Good order book, all that good stuff. But when it already made such a big pump just from yesterday and then today, of course, when is it going to begin to pull back? Well, it's at the highs here, looking at the 1 minute chart, still pretty much near the highs. So I'm not going to write it off just yet. I'll come back to it, if anything. Not fully convinced with putting this on the main list just yet. Looks really flat. So I think that most of this move is finished up at least, if not all. And if anything, I'll come back if I need to. I'd say the same on IDAI, even more so. So I'm actually not going to put this on our list at all. But what goes up comes back down. The AMSC here. So, of course, we got to talk about this one. So let me clear all of my crappy lines, though, for right now. You can see the AMSC trade ended up having that big pump early in pre-market hours. But I think there could be a lot more left on this trade, like long-term or short-term, so to say, like the next few weeks and months ahead. Just in terms of seeing this build support here across the chart, it's been making a nice trend and moving back up to 16. So could it be a good day trade at this point into the close? I do think so. The order book is definitely thin. Hey, if I'm putting MSGM on the watch list and it has that type of order book, I think AMSC looks great as far as a chart. It's not necessarily at like the highs of the day, obviously, but beautiful move back up for right now. And we'll see if it can keep going. Superconductor stock, that's been the big hype and, big hot sector, so to say, or emerging coming up over the next, few weeks and months ahead. Some big headlines out with that. And I will say the headlines are way above my pay grade. Don't ask me to recite them. Just we follow the smart money here. So, if I see a headline, I'm not going to just jump into a trade. But if there is good volume behind it, sparks good conviction for us then. RBT, I haven't seen this trade until right now. Stock ended up doing well yesterday too. Another like pump from 70 up to like 120 within like 48 hours. I'll write it down for the side list here, RBT. Come back to it if I really need to, but I'll pass. TUP. I just got out on a small trade here on Tupperware just earlier. I took a little money from like a trade from earlier across the morning session. It just failed to really break out higher just here. So I was saying a moment ago, if it wasn't going to break over 554 and make a big move up, then it's not good news. I actually, in fact, wrote it that way. I was like, if it stays above 554, it's good. If it's below 554, it's bad. So, I saw it break under 554. I said, you know what, let's take the money and run. Let's be responsible here. And, for right now, I'm going to keep this on the side list. Not really convinced of a big pop back up just yet. If it ends up popping during this meeting, folks, then you certainly let me know. That's where we work together as a team here between you and I, and see what else we can do here right now. ARQQ. It's at the highs, don't get me wrong. It's got a lot of volume for it to cut through. There's a lot that I'm going to put on this proverbial side list right now, folks. So, we're probably going to jump back to a few trades at the end collectively. Right now we got 3 on the main list so far. Then RGTI looks good. That AMSC, I'm more, hopeful, and I think that I have a good intuition on it, but you got to be careful on that one. QUBT, same deal on this. It's just pretty tired right now, I think. There's just a bunch of big orders out there in order for it to break over. I feel like it's a tough ask right now, looking even more so on level 4. All right, so I'll tell you what, even more so here. We need to work together as a team because there's a lot more that's up percentage-wise. But, really some names I'm not really too familiar with. I haven't really seen here like TTI, THRM, OSK. So I'll jump to Benzinga myself to wrap it up. But if there's anything else that you see right now that looks good, chart-wise, type it in. I'm just checking out Blue Apron here, familiar name. Not really looking too good, but those are the types of stocks I want to just turn to, stocks that we've seen make a big move in the past. Really not a whole lot else out there across the gainer side from my side of things that I see, like looking at like a name brand stock or something we're familiar with. And that's okay. So far so good. We got 3 on the main list so far. Let's hop over to the loser side here. TGTX, tradable, but it made most of its move already from the morning session, dropped off and was a great short and was as good of a dead cat bounce from roughly around 10, broke a little bit below it, but then ended up finding that good support off 10 later on. So great trade. Write it down for your side list tomorrow, perhaps. It'll likely have similar volatility to it. HLIT, not really doing so much there. SILV, is this an ETF or is this a company? Yeah, it's a company, not an ETF. So we'll take a look at a stock like Pan American Silver. Kind of similar. Silver stock, at least, not really down as much, not really at the lows like this is. But this is like watching paint dry here, right? And watching the grass grow for a potential breakdown, see a new short, just to see support off of 450. But I'm going to pass on it. I want something a little bit quicker, a little bit something faster. NCLH, made its move earlier today too. Similar drop off from earnings, and made a good dead cat bounce perhaps, but I feel like it's just going to kind of tire out now heading into the final 75 or so minutes left. All right. So, I tell you, just from doing this as much as I've been doing it here, it might look lazy, but there really isn't too much else out there that is like a really standout name. Of course, right as I say that, for any of my longtime members here, that's typically where I run right into a trade that does look viable and does look all right. And I'm starting to look at this ZI as I just turn to it there, right? So it's pulling back a little bit. It's not really at the session lows off of 1856. Got a little ways to go to get there, but it is trending down somewhat nicely. It has a great order book. It does have an iceberg on the bid to act as big support here at $18.80. So if you're asking like, hey, does this provide an opportunity? Well, you have a big level, you have a trend, it is easy to borrow on TradeStation, and it has a liquid order book. So all of that does check off. It's not really at like the session lows or whatnot. But you know what? I think there we go. Just in typical afternoon meeting fashion, right? As we say, there's nothing left from the loser side. We run right into something. So don't mind if I do. There we go. Roberto, no worries, my friend. We're going to look to post this watch list just as soon as I finish flapping my gums here. All right. So if there's anything else, folks, that you see up, down, left, right, more than 5% that you'd want me to look at, take a look at here, just check out. Let me know. I'll post my email address here inside our streams right now on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, etc., etc. Just any questions that you got from me, send over a quick email, josh@c2trading.com. Otherwise, of course, we encourage and invite you to join our live trading room. Just scan that QR code with your phone right there. Get access to a week-long trial inside our live trading room. Now, with that said, let's jump to Benzinga. What do we got here, folks? Anything good from Benzinga right now before Fausto's class? Quick reminder again for all of our gold, platinum, and diamond students, you have the phase 3 stock course lined up at 3:05 Eastern time. So that's the advanced trading class with Fausto. He's basically looking at everything I'm putting on this list. Got to build out a good list. I got to impress the guy there, right? I don't want him to work off a crap watch list there. So let's see if there's anything good here so far. ASPI. I'll take a look at it. Yeah. No. All right. So I think that we're pretty much finished up here, folks. I'm going to just check out the ones I wrote down on the side list here at the end, and that's going to do. So MNK, that's a no-go. RBT was at the highs, right? This was at least right at the highs, and trading 9.5 million shares right now, which is definitely a lot compared to what it mainly does on a day-to-day basis. I know just the last week or so, it looks like it exploded in volume. I'm saying before that time. So that's still a lot. And for as much as it moved up already, it's a tough ask, but it's in better position compared to a lot of other trades. So you know what? I'll slip this on there, RBT. The yellow trade, it is flat. Don't get me wrong, but I reckon I could put this on our main list here. It's just still, not really making a lower low as of now. The ARQQ, kind of similar deal with this as the RBT, right? This one really hasn't exploded in volume as much the last few days or the last week like that other one. You had a couple of big days here, but otherwise, today's the first standout day in a little while. So perhaps there could be more to come on this. All right, I'll add this one as well. ARQQ. And what else? What was the last one there? Tupperware, right? Nah, it's a no-go. All right, I'm happy I got out too. Broke lower. All right, so in total, folks, we got 2, 4, 6 stocks to work with. I think there was one remaining here from our side list, Peloton, I wanted to check out quickly. I think one of our students asked about that. It's going nowhere right now. It's not up or down anything right now. I'm going to pass on it. PBR from IRA, same deal on this. This is just such a heavy volume stock. It's going to require a lot for this to actually make a big push upward. It's just, a side list stock. It's just, this is, you could kind of compare this to so many different stocks out there. You want something that's more bang for your buck, something that's up or down a lot. We teach this all throughout the phase 1 stock course, IRA, right? In terms of building out our watch lists across the morning or the afternoon. So honestly, this is not something I'd be as jumpy towards. GDRX from Mike, same deal here. Pass on it. I mean, if it's shortable, it could be a good short should it break lower, but there's better trades right now, folks. RGTI, ZI even, that ARQQ, RBT, perhaps that AMSC. Larry says, before we finish up, I got to make sure that all of you get ready for class coming up here. And again, as a trial member here joining our live trading room, I had a couple questions about this just now. Just make sure that you get in touch with your education advisor. They're the middleman or middlewoman between you and Fausto, where they'll be able to break down just how the classes work, just what's included with each course package. So I'm going to post our office phone number right here for any of our trial members that were just chatting me on that. And then just give a call to them if you haven't scheduled that appointment. But from Larry, he's asking, what do you make on the volume on RGTI every 10 cents? Well, I know Larry's a student. Larry's a longtime student CT. He knows what he's asking and talking about here. And yeah, roughly just about every 10 cents, loosely speaking, you tend to see some sort of level, but you could even go every 5 cents on this, right? Like roughly, loosely speaking, rule of thumb, every 5 or so cents, you could probably see some larger order out there. Focus, if you have Bookmap, Larry, focus on the whole number like 3, but then otherwise just to see where the larger order is out there. Let me, if I can, Larry, pull up RGTI and Bookmap as I'm flapping my gums here going overtime before Fausto's class. Guess what's popping back up right now? Tupperware. So I guess it pays to keep talking, right? So Tupperware, I'm going to slip back on our main list. Look at this. Nice little pop back up and over, or towards, I should say, my 554 line. So still not out of the doghouse yet for that Tupperware, for that to be a really good trade. It's got to bust over that 554. Larry, on RGTI, it's really just 3 and like 325, 330. That's it. Folks, we're going to finish up right now. There is nothing else left, and I could just tell you from my side of things. We're going to finish up. I want to make sure that students like Ira and Larry and Michael and all of our gold and platinum and diamond students have a chance to get access to Fausto's class. Again, the Phase 3 stock course. Live trading, you're going to get to see Fausto pull the trigger just based off these stocks here. All right, so, hey, best of luck trading going into the market close. Rich will be on the mic just in about 15 or so minutes here for all of us right now. Take care.